Gentlemen, we are back. We are jumping straight into the next round, round number 7 for today's Go4LoL Cup. This is the 87th Cup that they've played, 87 weeks of Go4LoL, and this is, of course, my second Go4LoL. We've managed to follow quite a few games throughout the day, quite a few teams going forward, getting knocked out at this stage, and we're into a very big game right now. As this is round 7, it's, I think, the last 8 teams. I just need to double-check that my math is pretty terrible. And we're going to be following alternate attacks against Ultraviolet Gaming. 2 very strong teams. Both teams having over 2,200 ELO average amongst the players. And it's really going to be interesting to see who they pick, who they play. And of course, let's have a look at who they've banned. Alternate attacks do not like Urgot, Udeo, or Dr. Mundo. And they've removed all 3 champions from UV Gaming. Really not wanting to put up with Urgot, not wanting to put up with those acid hunters in the bottom lane. Of course, UV Gaming probably having the advantage of watching the previous game as they were waiting for this match to be completed. They've decided to ban Blitzcrank. Of course, Blitzcrank played by Giza in that previous match against, what was it, Crew 2K. Really tearing them apart and putting so much damage down. First pick for alternate is Nocturne. So it's their jungler, and with a bit of luck, he'll be wearing that totally awesome Halloween skin. And it is awesome. Spooky Nocturne. I missed the Halloween map. How many of you guys were around last year, October, when the Halloween skin was floating, or the Halloween map was floating around, and you walked past the little graveyard just above the blue buff, and there was an Earth that would jump up and Earth. So, Sallow and Nightlife, they've locked in a Nautilus and a Corki. So once again, we're going to see Corki. Corki's been very popular today. Lots and lots of games being played. Alternate Fish looking like they want to go for an Ashe-Janna combo. And that's a huge damage combination. The guaranteed crit from Ashe combined with a Janna shield, Eye of the Storm at level 1. It really hurts hard. On top of that, you throw out a volley from Ashe. Not only are your opponents slowed, but they take chunks of damage. So I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen a Soraka pick on behalf of UV Gaming, just to try and mitigate some of the damage that's going to be put out. With the Corki, there we go. There's the Soraka. Once again, Salah's going to be able to pick up his support Soraka. He's played it, I think, every game I've streamed from UV, actually. Salah has played Soraka. And of course, now they're going to decide, now the important questions come up. Who's going to play mid and who's going to play top? For TechnoLink, buddy, Morgana and Shen are both available. And a couple extra guys in chat at the moment. Technoman and Sea Dwarf, as well as BNF. What's up, BNF and everybody else? Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for stopping by. I love Chio going for Vladimir. If memory serves, he also has the really awesome epic Vladimir Count Dracula skin of awesomeness. So I'm going to have to see whether or not that's the skin that's selected, and whether or not Vlad's going to go mid or top lane. Because once again, you know, picking a Vladimir, you're not saying who's going where. Vlad can do both roles equally well. And Pharrellin Lord looking like he wants to go for an Orianna. And that's going to be awesome. I love watching Orianna play. The skill cap on Orianna is absolutely massive. So throwing out those balls, command attack, command dissonance, command shockwave, I think. I can't remember the commands. I'll have to double check them all when we get into the game. And I'll be really happy if we get a Wukong as well. I love watching Wukong play. The sound effects are cool. Wukong thinks he's a little bit of Bruce Lee and jumps around with that wata! Smacks you in the head with his giant pole, and it hits really hard. So the last pick is going to come from Dream Woot. And it's a very difficult one because Vlad can do okay against a Orianna. If Pharrellin Lord plays very, very aggressively, there we go. Command Shockwave, Command Attack, Command Protect, and Command Dissonance, I think it is for the ultimate. We watched a Vladimir face-off against an Orianna last weekend, and Orianna's passive, it applies magic damage to her auto attacks. And she's got pretty good auto attack range as well. So you run up there, you use the Command Attack, it deals damage. Command Shockwave is the main burst damage ability from Orianna. And then, of course, that can be followed up with a bunch of auto attacks because, of course, you slowed and locked down. So we are going to see a Morgana most likely. I was hovering Morgana. Now we're hovering over Eve. And this is a troll. It's not a troll. I apologize outright to Dream Woot and the rest of UV Gaming. They have, in fact... Oh, there we go. Okay, right. I feel a little bit better. It's Galio. All right, so there we go. There was a bit of a fail there on that lock-in. So, derp pick from Geza. Rehost blind pick. So we're going to jump out of this game really quickly. To make it faster. No problemo my side. And of course, Salah's going to be able to throw out those invites. So for the time being, let's just wait for the invite to come through. And yeah, I was hoping for Morgana as well. Hey, what's up, Lubricant? How you doing, buddy? And Bruku. We're going to wait for the invite to come through. And then we're going to be able to jump straight back into the next game. And this is going to be a good one. I'm going to pull up the ladder while I've got a second. Let's do a refresh on this. Wait for it to load up. There's the invite. You heard the little click in the background. Accept. Active game was not found. Let me quickly pull up the camera. Sorry, guys. I just don't want you to see the password. There we go. All right. Sweet. So I'm busy jumping back into the game. We can pull up monitor and the camera. And now we've just got to see what's happening here. Waiting for everybody to rejoin to the game. Just a small disconnect problem. It is a bit of a pain, a bit of a problem. Difficult to deal with. And I would have loved to have seen an Eve. I would love to have seen like a jungle Eve maybe. But of course, now that she cannot stun, it's only damage. It's significantly less effective. Quadralift and Tarvet. What's up, guys? Thank you for joining the stream. We are going through blind pick, but because we have superpowers, we can in fact see all of the picks. That's quite cool, actually. Very smart from Riot Games to keep blind pick not blind. So we're going to be watching Ultraviolet facing off against alternate attacks in what I believe is the round of 8. We'll figure that out as soon as we pull up the ladder in a few seconds. And I'm very interested to see who's actually going to win this game. Every single champion in this game scales harder and harder the longer the game goes. And the way that this is happening at the moment, the way that this game has been playing out so far, the tournament's been playing out so far, is it's very early victories. One team gets an advantage right at the beginning of the game. And then, of course, that shuts the players and the teams down. So what we can do for the time being is have a look for Sea Dwarf. You are 100% correct. I probably should have closed that a little bit earlier. Let's see if we can find UV. Here we are. UV Gaming facing off against alternate attacks. We've looked at both teams already. UV Gaming we followed extensively last weekend, covering I think 3 or 4 of their games before they were knocked out in the round of 4 against Team Cooler Master. So this is of course the second time UV are playing in Go4LoL. Alternate attacks, German side, very strong, playing in the EPS and around for a very long time as an organization. And then LoL side is just going from strength to strength. So let's have a look what's happening here at the minute. And lots of love letters at the moment. And it's round 7. Thank you, I Love Chio. You are awesome for pointing that out. My ability to count is diminishing as the evening goes on. So we're now down to the 3-minute delay. Unfortunately, with it being a blind pick, I now need to kill even more time and waffle even longer. So what I'd love to do is I'd love to get you guys, commentator, can you say Dream Woot is the best? I can say it, and it's only because I'm trying to kill some time. So Dream Woot, let's see how you do on Vladimir. That's probably going to be Vladimir in the top lane against a Wukong. And I really don't know how that's going to go. I think Wukong's got bigger burst than Vlad. He's going to be able to jump up. With his Nimbus Strike, he can close the distance. That, of course, gives him an attack speed boost. You then use his Crushing Blow to deal a big chunk of physical damage and reduce the armor from the enemy champion. So I'm a bit worried for Vladimir in the top lane. I think in the middle lane, Orianna versus Galio is going to be a little bit dull as well. I find Galio's laning phase to be very dull, very frustrating. So we'll have to see how that happens and how that plays out, whether or not Pharrell Lord on Orianna is going to be able to apply enough of pressure to Galio to actually pick up any kills. The Bulwark from Galio as well is going to mitigate some damage, and it'll give him some health back with the auto attacks that Pharrell Lord's going to be tossing out. And we watched him play Brand in the last game, and he really, really played aggressively, really pushed hard forward, you know, and Brand versus a Nivea, it's very difficult to blow up an Nivea twice. And Pharrell Lord just kept a Nivea on the back foot, kept a Nivea guessing and under pressure. So can he do the same against the Galio? Bottom lane, Soraka Corki against Ash Janna. And Fish playing Ash. The ultimate is going to be so difficult. That crystalline arrow is going to fly in and stun somebody. And that person's pretty much going to be dead. You've then got Nimbus Strike dash from Wukong, Paranoia dash from Nocturne, as well as then the Command Attack and the Command Dissonance, which will be able to separate the entire team. Dissonance from Orianna will be able to pull someone closer towards her or throw people further away depending on their positioning. I'm very, very excited to see Pharrell Lord playing Orianna, one of the best AP mids in EU at the moment. Playing a very exciting champion. So 20 seconds left. I still have had no votes in chat, so let me actually ask for it directly. I could try a British accent, but I think they want to come and hunt me down. I'm going to fail on that. Number one, no, I'm not Australian. I am South African. This is how South Africans sound, or at least English-speaking South Africans anyway. And I want to know, chat, 133 viewers. We've got a bunch of you chilling on the stream, a bunch of you listening in. Who's going to win? Alternate Attacks or Ultraviolet Gaming? Game is about to kick off, and I'm going to decide who I'm voting for based on skins. And oh my god, these people are making life difficult. This is just so hard to decide. We've got Sexy Naked Janna, Amethyst Ash, Halloween Spooky Nocturne, our Wind-Up Doll Orianna, which is really creepy, by the way. And of course, the Flame Wukong. On the bottom team, we've got our Mr. Vandal Vladimir, the new ultimate from Galio, the Gatekeeper of Hell. And of course, Soraka rocking out with her human skin, getting rid of that unicorn horn, trying to blend in, trying to fit in a little bit more. Doesn't like being a mutant. So having a look at how things are going at the moment, we've got a few votes for alternate, a few votes for UV. And it does look like the vote is leaning in favor of alternate attacks. Sort of a 4-3, 5-3 vote so far. Alternate attacks facing UV Gaming, round 7, Go4LoL. You cannot get cooler than that. And quite interestingly as well, the ball from Orianna has got all sorts of spikes on it this time around. I think the default ball is plain. There's no spiky bits to hurt anybody. And alternate attacks have now snuck up into this bottom tri-bush. No vision from UV yet. And this is going to be very, very bad. Janna hasn't picked the point just yet. Ash has already taken her volley. Command attack coming out from Orianna. And we've got a double invade. UV Gaming moving towards the enemy red buff. They moved up to place a ward. Oh, and this is so scary. This is terrifying for UV. They're moving down into their lanes. Soraka and Corki chilling in the river. Trying to play safely. Trying to play defensively. For Sea Dwarf, I am South African born, but I'm living in Berlin. Germany. So, casting from the studio in Berlin, my latency is around 25. So I'm pretty happy with that. Some recalls are happening now from alternate attacks. Wukong has called back. He's going to be moving into the top lane. And Nautilus is under so much trouble. He's going to have to burn this flash. Wait for the volley to come out. The Duskbringer lands as well. Huge damage onto Amazing 94. He does, however, walk away with his life. And didn't even use his flash, actually, now that I look at it. Some great knowledge from Amazing 94, knowing he can tank that damage up, knowing he can survive. But without having the blue buff, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very hard to jungle without being able to throw out that Riptide and without being able to use his Titan's Wrath as often. So the mana costs on Nautilus are very, very high with his base mana pool. The champions are going to settle into lane, and I'm going to quickly send a love letter to IRC land. Let everybody know that it's alternate attacks versus UV Gaming up on stream. If you guys have any friends, family, dogs, pets, hamsters that want to watch League of Legends, let them know we're here. Let them know the game is going on. And in the mid lane, Lord, he's not afraid of the gatekeeper of hell. He's going to throw up and throw those weird little spanner tricycle wheel thingies. And we're going to have to see whether or not Lord's going to be able to convert this aggression into kills. That's the real question. There was somebody asked on chat about Nautilus's mana costs. His Riptide costs 60 mana, Titan's Wrath costs 80 mana, and Dredgeline is only 60 as well. What makes Nautilus a fast jungler is that Titan's Wrath ability of his. It puts a small damage shield on him, and it deals AoE damage over time to any creeps that are near somebody that's been hit with his anchor. And at 80 mana cost with a 360 mana pool, it gets burned through really, really quickly. Especially when you need it pretty much for each camp, or at least every second camp. So farming at the moment, 16 on Ashe, 12 on Corki. Farming pretty effectively under the turret without any items. Nautilus sitting in the jungle at the moment, just moving around, clearing out his camps, trying to catch up from not having that blue buff. I have the storm being thrown onto Ashe. Janna has already put 1 point into it and increases attack damage by 14 at level 1. And I believe it goes to 28 or so at level 2. We'll find out very, very shortly. There we go, 23 attack damage already for free. That's more than a Doran's Blade. Only the cost of a little bit of mana. But what is very difficult for Janna, they are facing a sustain lane. Soraka is going to be able to heal back the damage from that Ashe and Janna put down, and is not going to be able to replenish any HP. And top lane at the minute, Dreamwood facing off against Cliff, and Vladimir is really putting some good damage down onto Wukong at the moment. Not having any attack damage items, Wukong is not able to mitigate that damage just yet, but very frustratingly is still out farming Vladimir. Wukong chilling on 27 CS to only the 18 of Vlad. So it's pretty obvious that Vladimir is spending most of his time and most of his focus on harass, as opposed to picking up creep kills and farming up that gold. For anybody that's sitting on stream at the minute, yeah, can somebody drop me a message? I've noticed it has just died. So let me do a reload there. I am still streaming. If anybody is there and still listening in, let me know on Twitch. There we go. I just did a refresh on the page. No idea what happened first, but looking like it may happen. Dreamwood really knowing how to play Vladimir. Timing his Sanguine Pool right there to the very, very last second. Managing to get away with his life. Let me know if there are any issues, guys. I noticed that on my own little preview screen, the video had stopped playing. So I don't know what caused that. I don't know if there was a little bit of an issue or not. Either way, I am still recording and I am still live. Nautilus is now set up in this top lane. He's coming in from behind. Cliff is going to need to use this decoy at the right time. He dashes forward, Ignite goes up and Transfuse. There goes the decoy plus Ghost. So he did have to use his Summoner spell to get away. But it does mean that Vladimir popped his Ignite as well. So it's not going to be enough to actually, or it may not be, you know, he may need that later when he wants to try and secure a kill. So with his last few waves, Vladimir has managed to pull back in terms of CS. Only 8 behind. That's a wave and a half. And Wukong opting for a very early game build. Double Dorans, pots, wards. And Fish playing Ashe is really putting damage down onto Corki. Farm is bang on even, 37 to 38. And in the middle lane, only 10 difference separates them. Galio's waiting to get some levels, and he can then start sort of AFK farming the waves. For Lord running out of mana, but his blue buff will be up at around about the 7-minute mark. As soon as his blue buff respawns, or it'll be a little bit later actually, would have been delayed. Damage going down now. Howling Gale comes out from Ashe. Frost Arrows are on Soraka as well. This may be enough to pick up a kill. The heal comes out at the very last second there, as well as the Summoner heal. It does save Soraka on Salo. Better to use those Summoner spells and prevent First Blood than anything else. For Wagnerian 9, try dropping the quality. See if your dropping the quality helps the stream or helps the latency issue. Top lane now really going advantage of Wukong. He's now picked up the bonus health and the bonus damage. Huge damage from Crushing Bow, reduces the armor and keeps it. It allows the remaining auto attacks to deal even more damage on Dream Woot. He's obviously only got 3 points in transfusion at the minute. He needs a few more levels between the cooldown. Really becomes very effective for him. And Cliff is just looking to stamp his authority on that top lane. Forellan Lord is now back in lane. Got Catalyst the Protector up. And of course some more boots and pots. Moving forward to play some aggressive wards. The enemy blue buff has now been warded. And with Nocturne at level 6, he's going to be able to use Paranoia to jump in there if he wants to do that for a steal. Or alternatively, Orianna's going to be able to walk up there and pick up a steal when somebody's there, you know, when the golem's at low life. Cliff using the grass to his advantage, chilling out in there, and brilliant damage coming down. Huge damage from the Nimbus Strike, followed by Crushing Blow. And very interestingly, Cliff is opting to max out Nimbus Strike first. Now I can understand that. It does make sense because Nimbus Strike does increase your attack speed by a very big amount, 45% at level 4. And it does land for decent damage, 223 physical damage as well, guys. Remember that. So it is, it's not blocked by magic resist, it is by armor. And then of course having that additional attack speed, if he can just sit on Vladimir, stay in Vladimir's face, he's going to be able to keep punching him away, keep wailing on his head. 107 attack damage, facing off against a champion with only 1100 hit points. It only takes about 10 to 12 auto attacks and a few of his abilities to actually pick up a kill. So 1,000 gold the difference at the moment. Being outfarmed in every lane by small amounts. Mid lane by a fair amount, actually 20 CS at the moment. And now Vladimir and Orianna moving into steal his blue buff. It has been given to Nocturne. He uses his smite to secure that. And unfortunately, UV Gaming not being able to do anything about that. So mid lane losing a bit in farm. Bottom lane is bang on tie, 63-63. Top lane 71 to 57. So about 30 to 40 creep kill score above in total. And that's where this gold difference is coming from. And now a blue buff Orianna maxing out Command Dissonance. And it's Shockwave is the ultimate. There we go. So Dissonance is the AoE one. Drops it on the floor and it applies a slow. It deals really, really good damage. 225 at the moment. That's a scale of around about 70-odd% ability power. So that's going to get even stronger as Forellan Lord builds up more AP. The animations from Galio jumping out. Doing some damage to Orianna, but not really enough to put pressure. And once again, we've got a very safe, very passive start. Corki committing to a fight at the minute, and that's huge damage. Ash Arrow comes out and manages to pick up Soraki in the head, though. Just as Valkyrie jumps away, Orianna comes up from the back, manages to use Command Shockwave to pick up the first blood. Now all of a sudden, we've got a 4-man tower dive. Janna's taking tons of damage, and there goes the depth charge. With the flash from Janna, it was actually enough to knock up most of the enemy team from alternate. Galio is now trying to get away. I love Chio's just trying to survive as long as he can. He does have his ultimate available though, so he should probably consider jumping in and using that. Deciding not to, instead just using it to run away. Nocturne then following it up with his Paranoia to secure the kill. And then while all of that was going on, Wukong manages to take out Vladimir in the top lane as well. It's a great play by alternate attacks. 10 minutes of passivity followed up by 3 incredibly quick kills. And great focus from the alternate attacks team. And I think Galio maybe should have jumped in with that Idol of Durand. He had 3 champions running up towards him. I would probably have used that. Thrown out some damage from Nautilus. Maybe would have been enough to pick up a kill or 2. Or at least a kill onto Nocturne. That I'm fairly sure about. So Wukong, with the kill that he's got and the creep score advantage, he's already finished his Hex Drinker. That was an outright purchase, by the way. And he also has 3 Doran's Blades. Ashe in the bottom lane with the double assists. Picked up a BF Sword. And Forellan Lord in that mid lane with the kill and the assist. Of course, it was first blood as well went to Forellan Lord. He was then able to finish his Rod of Ages. So, really nicely done there. 12-minute mark. The gold lead is 4,000 gold. And that is a huge amount at this stage in the game. Really difficult to deal with. But if UV Gaming can just slow the pace of the game down, pick a few good team fights, set up a few good ganks, they can turn this around, and it's going to come down to the next 5 to 8 minutes of gameplay. By the 20-minute mark, if UV Gaming haven't taken control of this game again, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Ash, 3.5k gold to 3-2 on Corkies. That's pretty even. Oriana, 4,000 to the 2,700 on Galio. That's a big, big difference. Wukong in the top, 3,800 to 2,700. Corki being caught out. Howling Gale as well as all the Frost Arrows. The slow from Janna as well. Just staying in range and just continually attacking. Ash sitting at a 1 attack per second attack speed. And dealing really, really good damage with that BF sword. Fighting against only a Phage of Corki. Paranoia being used. That's in the top lane against Vladimir. The fear does go off though, as well as Cyclone being blown from Wukong. They're going to move forward. Hemoplate comes down, so that's going to increase the turret damage, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to save Dream Woot. He's fighting for as long as he can. Turret dives, just unsuccessful. Nocturne taking so much damage from that turret, as well as Wukong. But Wish was used from Soraka. Wish did save Vladimir there, which is very, very useful. Now, brilliant dredge line from Nautilus. Goes into the stun. Riptide going down as well. Auto attacks with the Missile Barrage going down. Finally, Exhaust is used onto Giza. They need to commit to this dive if they want to kill 1 or 2 more attacks. In the background, though, Ash is able to pick up Soraka. And now, all of a sudden, I Love Chio's moving in. Wondering about Idol of Durand. Wondering about whether he wants to dive. They're opting to just use range. And Chio's taking so much damage from this turret. And do we want to go? Do we not want to go? Now we've got Oriana coming up from the back. And Oriana may be able to pick up a double kill. Dissonance going to go down in a few seconds. Summoner Heal finally used. Idol of Durand is going to need to be picked up by Galio. It does even have it on cooldown. It's available as well, but not used. Now Nautilus sitting on Oriana, bashing her in the head, swinging that massive, massive anchor around. Dissonance is finally used, and it's because Chio's got no mana. Oriana's able to 1v1 Nautilus because Galio cannot use that Bulwark. He couldn't jump in with the Idol of Durand. I think the mana cost is 150. 100 mana, and he's sitting on 40 at the minute. He couldn't save the Nautilus, unluckily, unfortunately. 5,000 gold difference at the moment. Chio and Salo now watching Nocturne steal this blue buff, and there is nothing they can do about it. Nocturne once again going for that all-in aggressive build. He's got a Vamp Scepter already, BF Sword, Armor, and the Dagger. So we're going to have to see what he builds this into, see what he builds up to. It's going to be very interesting. Huge damage coming down from Wukong. Nimbus Strike into the Crushing Blow. A few more auto attacks. He now has a maxed out Nimbus Strike and 3 points into Crushing Blow. It's going to mitigate 30% of Vladimir's armor, reducing it from 71 to 50. And that's really going to increase the amount of damage that Wukong's going to be landing and going to be able to put away. And what's up, guys? We just had a big spike in viewers. 193 viewers on the stream. Get 7 more. Let's break 200, guys. This is Alternate Attacks wearing the blue trunks, facing off against Ultraviolet Gaming in the purple. And Cliff just fears no evil. He has no worries running up and punching Dream Woot in the head, landing a few attacks, landing some pressure. And Karanea, I am just a very excitable dude, trying to bring some life into casting. I'm tired of slow casts. So let's see what happens at the moment. 5,000 gold still in the lead. Alternate Attacks. And they also have 1 turret to the name. They've also managed to pick up a dragon kill as well. And Anzo on Nocturne has stolen huge, I think 2 of the blue buffs already. We've respawned the 3rd one that also got stolen as well. And now all of a sudden Amazing 94 is coming in. He's looking for Wukong. Riptide goes out, doesn't manage to land the stun unfortunately. Ghost from Cliff comes out, Depth Charge manages to knock him out. Hemoplate goes down, and it's going to come to Cliff. Dredge line only manages to catch a creep unfortunately. And all of a sudden, that's that gank failed. A really good depth charge from Amazing 94. It literally wasted the entire duration of the Ghost from Wukong. And while all of that is going on, bottom lane, obviously they lost their turret a few minutes ago, and now with having Galio moving up to the top lane and Galio recall to purchase some items, they lose another turret, and the gold gap is growing ever larger. Oriana already has a needlessly large rod as well as the Rod of Ages. Now she's coming up to put a gank onto Amazing 94. Dodges the first shockwave, lands a Riptide, uses the Dredge line to get away from the distance. Really well played. That was fantastic juke. Fantastic positional play from Amazing 94. Dredge line onto Oriana. She's going to take a couple of turret hits, but not really enough to do anything else. And Salo's being very, very aggressive there. The shockwave is going to go out, put some huge damage onto Salo, but there's no No ultimate from Forellan Lord. He's now overcommitted. He's going to try and pick up a kill if he can. Dredgeline pulls Forellan Lord back, and Forellan Lord still alive, tanking 3 champions from UV Gaming for as long as is possible. And now all of a sudden, Dragon is sitting, is going to go down as well. So this is the second Dragon for alternate attacks. They are going to probably lose a turret for it though. So it's sort of a fair trade in the grand scheme of things. But of course, the fact that UV Gaming are so far behind on gold is going to give them a decent bump. They are now 6,000 gold behind, being outfarmed in almost all of their lanes. Nocturne has finished his Berserker's Greaves, Vamp Scepter, Cloth Arm, and a BF Sword. Ashe already has her Infinity Edge at the 18-minute mark, as well as Berserker Greaves and Adorn's Blade. Wukong working towards the Maw of Malmortius. Paranoia comes out from Nocturne. Paranoia, in conjunction with a volley and a few auto attacks from Ashe, just completely melts Galio. Galio, of course, building magic resist for the most part, so not able to handle the physical damage from Nocturne and Ashe. Great dredge line. Pulls Nocturne back, but sadly there's no one else to back it up. There's no one else to help him put pressure and damage onto the team. So there goes the depth charge. It knocks up Ashe, but she's still got her ultimate up. And with Orianna jumping in the middle, there goes the shockwave. Ashe arrow lands on Solo. One more auto attack will pick up the kill. Instead, it was a volley that actually did it. Now they're mitigating the turret damage, bouncing around between the different champions, back and forth, back and forth. Soraka gets taken up under the tower, and really great coordination from alternate attacks. They're really able to put pressure on the team, put pressure on UV Gaming. And now we're going to have to see what's happening or how alternate decides to play these next few minutes. They're significantly ahead in terms of map control. They have 3 turrets to only the 1 of UV, and they're out farming in every lane. Orianna is 50 creeps ahead. Wukong is, Orianna's 40 creeps ahead. Wukong is 50 creeps ahead of Vlad. Corki is keeping up with Ashe, but Ashe is sitting 3-1-3 as opposed to the 3-2 of Corki. So more assists for Ashe. And of course, having 2 additional turrets, 2 additional dragons is really going to help the cause. Forellan Lord on Orianna. Almost enough gold to pick up a Blasting Wand. It's probably going to work towards the Rabadon's Death Cap first. That would be the most likely pick. Really increase that burst. Come on, Dissonance now hitting for 360 damage. And another blue buff coming up. Blue buff is about to respawn. Galio's moving in, and now we got some split focus. We don't really know if we want to go for this fight or not. Anzo's taking a lot of damage. Gets caught by Idol of Duran, so that's going to be a dead Nocturne, surely. And he still gets away with it. Nocturne managing to tank all of that and literally just walk away from it. He did have to pop his flash, though. But nevertheless, flash in a few steps for not even dying is really good. Wukong jumps in there. Cyclone up is as well. Galio now just gets completely melted under the physical damage from there. Nocturne dives in with Paranoia and actually gets caught in the wall. Gets pulled back from Valkyrie as Valkyrie was used after. The shockwave going down. Huge damage. Soraka immediately blown up. Corki's trying his best to take out Nocturne. Flashes to pick up at least a kill. So that's a 2-for-1 in that last exchange. Corki's now running back, tail between his legs, trying to just get away from this team. 10,000 gold lead for alternate attacks. And I think it's too much. I think they're too far ahead at this stage. Trinity Force is finished for Corki. So that's going to be able to at least increase his damage output. But the fact that he's the only player on the team with kills, neither Galio nor Vlad or Nautilus really even have assists to write home about. There's just not enough team focus and team pressure here from UV Gaming. So it's very, very difficult to get through the game world. And brilliant comment coming out on chat at the minute. Galio does tend to build very tanky, and he doesn't have anywhere near the same burst damage that an Orianna does. And Vladimir, of course, can deal very good burst, but it's just being countered at the moment by the purely physical side of Wukong and Ashe, of course. And, of course, Nocturne. So that's 3 physical attack damage champions. And no armor at the moment, other than a few cloth armors. So we've got some pressure coming out. Galio does have his ultimate in a few seconds. They've managed to delay the Baron. Ashe has her ultimate up, and is going to have to see. Does manage to catch Dreamwood. There goes the Dissonance. Sanguine Pool comes out. I think this is going to be a dead Dreamwood. He managed to get some life back from a transfusion. While all of that's going on, Cliff is now diving forward. Drops his Cyclone. Does manage to knock up Chio, and Chio's going to get melted before he can even get a chance to think about Idol of Durand. Albeit it was on cooldown. Dredgeline pulls Forellenlord backwards. Flash from Forellenlord to get out of turret range. And that's 2 deaths from UV Gaming. Compliments of a bit of a split push. You know, they tried to move on to Baron. And I really don't think those split pushes ever worked. You know, you had Vlad coming in from the top lane from the tri-bush. And then the remainder of the team coming in from the bottom lane. And it's just, you're moving in 1v5. It doesn't really matter what abilities you have. It's never really going to work out for you. So Amazing 94 trying to put some damage onto Forellenlord. Pretty decent damage, actually, now that I look at it. 5 points into his Titan Wrath, 3 into Riptide. And brilliant damage going out. Summoner Heal needed to be used by Ashe there. Almost enough to actually pick up the kill. All of a sudden, Nasher is now at less than 20% life. Jumps in and manages to apply the slow. Not enough to steal the kill, though, unfortunately. Really, really well played by Alternate Attacks. No smite from Nocturne either, actually, now that I look at it. So that was an auto-attack kill. And now Corki and Nightlife really putting hard. Dissonance comes down, puts so much damage. Forellenlord is just eating people apart. And Nightlife going in alone. The rest of UV not willing to move in with him. And that felt like miscommunication. That felt like Corki saying go and somebody else saying no. So I'm going to have to see whether or not Alternate are going to be able to push down an inhibitor with this. They now have the Baron buff. Death Cap completed on Orianna. Phantom Dancer and Infinity Edge on Ashe. And an Infinity Edge for Nocturne as well. So once again, really going all in. DPS builds. DPS focused. Wukong has now finished his Maw of Malmortius. Sitting at around 1200 gold and deciding what the next item is he's going to build. And whoa, what's up, guys? That's a huge spike in viewers. 240 guys tuning in. Thank you for stopping by. Round 7 of the ESL Go4LoL Cup. We are now watching Alternate Attacks in the blue trunks against Ultraviolet Gaming in the purple trunks. And an Ashe Arrow missing everybody, but look at that damage. Attack and Dissonance just completely melts Corki's hit points, and now all of a sudden Amazing 94 gets melted as well. They just cannot deal with the sustained damage. Orianna is just dealing so much burst. That little ball, it looks so small and quaint, and it really isn't. It really is tearing people apart. Keeping an eye on how things are going at the minute now. That's another turret down for Alternate Attacks. Damage going out across the board. Ultimate's available for everybody except Ashe. Wish is also on cooldown for Soraka, so that's a big burst heal that's down. At this point in the game, 217 hit points is what it would be healing. And Alternate Attacks, 13,000 gold ahead. Really, really wanting to just end this game in the next 5 to 10 minutes. And I feel that it's just a matter of time until Alternate really get a good commitment. There goes the command. Shockwave pulls everybody back. A very good ultimate from Vladimir. Managed to catch 4. Paranoia is going to be enough to at least pick up the kill there onto Corki in the background. Not Wukong's going to be able to pick up another kill. Everybody splitting up and everyone just picking their single solo targets. Nautilus somehow managing to survive on single-digit HP. I'm sure about that. 5-man team from Alternate Attacks. They pick up 3 kills. This is going to be a inhibitor down now. And they may commit. They may stay on this. There's a creep wave pushing up. If I were Alternate, I'd take a turret here. They can. 15 seconds on the timers. And with the amount of damage that Ashe is putting out, along with the Nocturne with that Infinity Edge, 10 seconds. This may even be the Nexus. They're going to keep pushing and they're going to finish this off. 4 kills from Ultraviolet Gaming. Only managing to pick up a 5th kill there from Nautilus under the turret, the Pew Pew Laser. And Forellenlord leading the way with Alternate Attacks. Picking up a victory in round 7 of today's Go4LoL. Really unlucky for Ultraviolet Gaming. They played so well, fought so hard. So let's bring up the final scores you can see across the board there. 6-1-8 on Orianna. 6-1-6 on Ashe. I'm not going to count that last death. It was under the turret. 2-0-3 Wukong. Janna 1-1-11. I mean, brilliant support play completely across the board. Congratulations to Alternate Attacks. That was a very, very clinical game. And look at the gold from Ashe. 10,300 gold. Miles ahead of anyone on the Alternate Attacks. 10,500 for Forellenlord as well. So well played. Well played. What I'm going to be doing, guys, I'm going to throw up my little loading screen banner. Put some music on in the background. And I'm going to see if we can follow Alternate Attacks for their next game. I've got a few of the guys in-game in chat. So let me send them some love letters and some messages. And we'll get ready for the next game shortly.